I just wanted to open this session with one thought that comes from one of the world's lesser-known philosophers, but someone who has inspired me greatly, my dad. Now, my old man was a carpenter, and so I grew up playing with sharp and dangerous objects. And my brother and I were always sort of hammering and nailing and drilling and sawing, sometimes pieces of wood, sometimes each other, normally ourselves. And when my father was sort of mopping up the blood or sticking fingers back on with super glue, he used to say something to us, which was, if you're using a hammer, a saw, or a drill, there's a skill in it, there's a craft in it you have to learn. It's not about brute force. What he used to say was, let the tool do the work. It's not about how much physical effort you're putting in, it's having the skill to use the tools. Now, I didn't become a carpenter. I went and worked in international development. And there I found over years doing it that so much of the debate about aid and international development is about brute force in terms of how much money we're putting in. It's always about how much more do we need to achieve the Millennium Development Goals that we talked about the other day. But too little of the conversation is about what works, what tools can we develop so we actually have an impact and achieve things and change things. So I think the chance here today to change the conversation and move it into this area about what works is really important. Now, a few years ago, I was working for the British aid agency DFID, and I started to see new players emerging on the market, people coming from the business sector, either as private companies, philanthropists, social entrepreneurs. And the initial reaction from a lot of the aid community was very sort of technocratic. Oh, what do these people know about the challenges of aid? It's terribly complex. If you haven't done your 20 years in public health, what right do you have to talk about these things? Oh, these people are so naive. Dare we say it, je jeune. But what I saw was actually what you were getting from these new players was the orthogonal thinking, the disruptive ideas that we weren't getting from within the aid community. That's why I quit my job and went and wrote a book called Philanthrocapitalism to try and describe some of this movement that's bringing change. So I think part of that story has been incentive prizes. And one of the big innovations in aid in the last few years was the 2007 announcement of the advanced market commitments, $1.5 billion put down by the Gates Foundation and various governments to incentivize the creation of a vaccine against pneumococcal virus. So that was one of the new innovations coming through. And this is an exciting period in aid where these new players are coming up with ideas. So we've got a great chance today to sort of think about the tools we've been learning about in the last day, about devising new tools to really change development, to really have an impact, to really lift 1 billion people out of poverty.